First time I had contact with Paolo Zampolli is when I was 15 years old. I can state that starting from this first meeting, Paolo Zampolli began harassing me in an attempt to pursue an intimate relationship. That's right.
Another one.
Another one. Another pedophile. Best friend. Another Trump bestie outed as a pedophile. Well, you know, no need to assume that Trump himself is a pedophile. He's just surrounded by pedophiles. He's just so much better.
Come on now, dog. Come on, man.
I hope people wake up. I hope. What's going on, YouTube? It's your boy Trey.
Who the fuck is that guy?
Back at it with another video.
Another one.
First and foremost, thanks to everybody that's been subscribing to the channel. Obviously, I'm a new YouTuber, so it really means a lot and it's helping me grow. But let me know what y'all are liking about the content, what you're not liking, and things that you would like to see. Today, we're going to be reacting to another video from Reese Waters, and he's going into the deep dive of this Amanda Ungaro situation. So Melania's homegirl from way back that recently got deported. So yeah, I'm gonna chop this one up and just go into certain pieces, but definitely go and check out Reese Waters' whole video about it. I think it's almost like 45 minutes long, but they get into a lot of the reporting and a lot of the interviews and stuff like that. But we're gonna try and keep this one, relatively short. So if y'all want to see the whole thing, y'all have to go there. But without further ado, let's get into the video.
Guess what? She's back.
Hi, everybody. We just published a breaking news story out of our Epstein investigative team. Nina Burley, who writes our newsletter, American Freak Show. If you don't read it already, you should. Spoke to Amanda Ungaro and has published the interview in its entirety at her newsletter that just dropped. There are some bombshells in this interview. So for folks who don't know, a quick refresher, Amanda Ungaro is a former model who was part of the same agency as Melania. She was a partner for over 20 years to Paolo Zampolli, who is still in the White House, a close confidant and friend of Trump's, and who got her deported out of Florida, where she was living. They were in a custody battle over their son. She was picked up by police. He had her transferred to ICE, and then ultimately she was deported back to Brazil, where she is today. She knows Melania and Trump very well. Her former spouse, Paolo, takes credit for having introduced Trump and Melania. That is disputed, but he is very proud to take credit for that. And Amanda, most notably probably, tweeted at Melania a number of times just days before Melania's incredibly bizarre press conference at the White House.
So everybody was speculating that, hey, why would she come out with this random announcement? Like something is off, blah, blah, blah. And then everybody was like, well, yeah, she's probably trying to get ahead of something. And this is the something that she's trying to get ahead of. And yeah, like I said, it obviously goes deeper. But y'all let me know, like, when I watch this and I start, hearing the story, seems like these model agencies, whatever, just seemed like a cover for, like, these dudes was like on some pimp type stuff. Like it seems like, they could have been, pimping these girls out, getting them from all these different places, establishing modeling agencies, paying them under the table, taking them to these parties, like all this different stuff. Like, y'all, hey, look, that may be my conspiracy brain, you know what I'm saying? But all these different people had, ties to like modeling organization and trafficking in girls and stuff like that. Anyway, my bad. Let's get back into it.
The other day. So she has a lot of information that hasn't been reported on. We report on some of that here in Nina's story. Please check it out at epsteincoverup.us. Share it widely. This is a story that is still developing. There is still a lot of questions we do not have answers to about why Melania did that press conference, what she's protecting herself from, how she emigrated here exactly, and if that was legal or not. And she clearly does not want this information out there. Neither does Paolo, who preemptively put out a post on social media the other day threatening anyone who wrote about him or his son that he would sue them. This is a really important story. Obviously, it's a continuing developing story, but there's a lot of bombshells in Amanda's interview. So please go check it out at EpsteinCoverup.us and share it widely. We have got to keep the Epstein cover-up in the news. The cover-up is the crime, and it is continuing. It is happening in real time, and so we at Courier are covering it in real time.
Now, I didn't get a chance to dig into the tweets in my previous video, but they warrant mentioning here.
Carol, if you need a place to stay, send me a message. Amanda Ungaro has been brave enough to stand up to FLOTUS. She says, I will take legal action against you and your husband. I've known you for 20 years. You knew I was detained in ICE. Something was clearly wrong, but I am not part of any evil mission involving children. So what did you do, Melania? You tried to involve me, but you failed because I have character. Do you know what I think about you after 20 years? She says, I have nothing left to lose in my life. I will tear down the entire system. Be careful with me, bitch.
Isn't it strange? I guess, you know, when you're at that level of power and success, you think you're untouchable. The fact that they would do this to this lady and she knows where all the bodies are buried kind of deal, you know what I mean? And thought that, yeah, nah, she's not, what could possibly go wrong with doing this, right? Oh yeah, deport her, take her child away from her, blah, blah, blah. Like, use all your power to your advantage, and she's just gonna what? Shut up and not say anything. I mean, you know, she may only have her word, and you know, at the end of the day, like, people are gonna try and discredit her and things of that nature. But all of this, you know, it just seems more and more valid today than it would have ever been any other time.
Will tear down your corrupt system, even if it's the last thing I do in my life. I will go all the way. I am not afraid. Maybe you should be afraid of what I know, of who you are and who your husband is.
Let's start at the very beginning.
All right, so we're gonna push forward a little bit and get into when they start breaking down the stuff that they put on the website with that article.
Ungaro was deported to Brazil earlier this year after her ex, Paolo Zampolli, the man who brought her into the U.S. decades ago, was Trump's former business partner and now serves as Trump 2.0's special envoy for global partnerships, made a call that apparently...
So this dude is actively in the Trump administration right now.
...resulted in ICE detaining and then deporting her. Zampolli and Ungaro have been engaged in an ongoing child custody battle. The child is currently staying in New York with Zampolli. Amanda has known the Trumps for years. She and Zampolli were guests at the president's table at both Trump inaugurations. In our exchange with Ungaro, she contradicts some reported elements of the Melania Donald story, including how they met, and says that Melania, quote, knows that I witnessed highly compromising interactions over the course of 20 years. She said she would be willing to testify before the House Oversight Committee if asked. When and under what circumstances did you meet Zampolli? The first time I had contact with Paolo Zampolli is when I was 15 years old. I can state that starting from this first meeting, Paolo Zampolli began harassing me in an attempt to pursue an intimate relationship. That's right.
Another one.
Another one. Another pedophile. Best friend. Another Trump bestie outed as a pedophile. But, you know, no need to assume that Trump himself is a pedophile. He's just surrounded by pedophiles. He's just so much better.
Come on now, dog. Come on, man.
I hope people wake up. I hope.
15. Now, for me, unless you were of a similar age, it will always be perpetually weird to engage in a relationship with somebody who you knew at that particular stage of life. But we've gone a step further to beginning the pursuit at that particular stage of life. When and under what circumstances did you meet Melania? I was introduced to Melania by Paolo Zampolli. At that time, we were already dating, and that is when I was introduced to her. What was Melania's immigration status and who handled her case? The same lawyers who handled yours? I cannot answer that specific detail. However, she was already in a relationship with Trump, and I was already aware that Paolo Zampolli was the person responsible for negotiating visas to legalize his model status in the United States. Everyone knew this was a task he performed. Like everyone else, I knew that she worked and earned money for a long time while undocumented, and that too fell under Paolo Zampoli's purview. He circumvented the law and
That fell under his purview. He was the one that got the passports, and she worked for him, collecting money undocumented until she got that passport. Like these are like movie script like storylines, bro. Like I seen this. I can't think of one off of the top of my head, but it's like almost like Taken. Maybe no, I don't know if they were working towards citizenship, but y'all have seen the movie before. It sounds just like it was out of a damn Hollywood script, man. But yeah, he's the guy that's trafficking women. They work however they work, modeling and who knows what else. And then, once they reach a certain level or status, he gets them their citizenship or, attaches them to a rich billionaire, and then that billionaire pays for the citizenship. Look, I'm just saying this shit writes itself. Allegedly.
enabling the models to work and earn money illegally. He did the same with me when I joined the agency. Now, let's just go ahead and put a pin in Melania allegedly working while undocumented. We'll circle back around to that one. Mass deportation, right, MAGAs? Fun fact, Melania entered the U.S. on an Einstein visa for people with extraordinary ability. Fast forward 15 years, and this is the English we got.
What's sort of your long-term plan?
We will see now. Everything is in the air for now, but when the time comes, another way, we will see. We will see. We're just enjoying life. I want to live meaningful life.
Had the kids crying at Christmas. Did you speak with Melania?
Like, okay, this one is like obvious corruption, right? Einstein visa. What skill is it that she has that grants the Einstein visa? Because everybody brings that up, you know what I'm saying? And nobody defends it. I feel like that in itself is a story, isn't it? Like that in itself is a story that, I don't know, a reporter should ask Melania. They should ask Trump, like, hey, you're here on an Einstein visa. For what? What is your, exceptional skill or knowledge that you bring, to warrant, hey, being awarded an Einstein visa? I'm just saying, I don't understand why she hasn't had to explain herself on that. Like, we're just allowed to say it in honest, like, say it and realize that it's blatant corruption, but we just move on. Like, it's blatant corruption. Did you see that game last night? Like, what the fuck?
About your deportation and Zampoli's involvement. When and what was her reaction? I tried to reach her through contacts who had direct access to her, and based on what those contacts told me, she was aware of the situation but did nothing. Her reaction was one of indifference regarding what was happening to me. It seems to me that Melania, together with her husband, had a pact with Paolo Zampolli. Paolo constructed a false narrative claiming he was the one who introduced Melania to her husband, and not only do I know this isn't true, but everyone knows it isn't true. Authors note Melania and Zampolli have both denied this. I don't know what the specific agreement was behind the creation of this narrative, but Paolo was an associate of Epstein, and they did business together. And if you're wondering, yes, his name is in them files.
And like I said, like all of this stuff is, y'all are gonna say, yeah, I got conspiracy brain for this one, but just to add another layer into it, right? So obviously the Melania, Ungano, I don't know how to say her name. They're all related to this via modeling agencies and things of that nature. But obviously Trump was doing the whole pageants, Miss USA and whatever, Miss Universe, one of those pageants and stuff like that. And then who else is also comes from that scene and kind of tied into this thing is, Erica Kirk was in the pageancy scene and all that good stuff. And I want to say that's how she was introduced to Charlie Kirk. And like, look, all I'm saying is all this suspicious behavior is tied to modeling agencies and weird dudes that are tied to modeling agencies. And I added the pageants and stuff like that as an additional layer. But yeah, these dudes are trafficking in women, like attractive women, like for who knows what purposes. Like obviously they're having these parties and these girls are like coming all over the place to these parties. And based on everything that we just seen and heard with the Puff trial, at minimum it's trafficking. It's trafficking for sex trafficking. It's at minimum that's what it is. Like that's what Puffy got. In the end of the day for this trial, that's what he got charged with. And these are the facts that we are left with all of these people. And these people are way more powerful than Puff. And so what is going to happen to them is my question.
You became close enough to get to know Melania's Slovenian immigrant family. Tell us about your relationship with them as well as with her. Yes, I became very close to her family, holiday parties, Christmas, the White House, Mar-a-Lago. We were always invited, and for Paolo, our attendance was non-negotiable. This was the core of Paolo's power strategy. The greater the intimacy, the more assurance he would have that he could be exactly where he wanted to be at any given moment. If you search on X, you can find a video that Paolo had at my son Giovanni make for Melania, specifically with the aim of further entrenching us within the family. It wasn't enough to involve just me. He had to involve my son as well. He constantly sought to heighten the level of intimacy as if doing so would guarantee the execution of his ambitious, corrupt schemes. The very kind of schemes he was already engaging in back when he was involved with the United Nations. Now, one question that I would have in listening to her account is she talks about a pact between Melania and Zampolli when it comes to her deportation. Now, we would have to look at the grounds of her deportation or lack thereof to try and unearth any other legitimate reason why Melania would have reacted the way that she did when Amanda Ungaro contacted her to try and thwart her transfer out of this country. And we haven't heard it yet.
You don't find that suspicious? You don't find that suspicious? You don't find that suspicious?
And even more suspicious to come out and do the press conference and jump out the window like that. Guilty now, like guilty, like plain as day. I'm sorry. Like that's how guilty people act. I don't know who the advisor was that told her to do that shit, because that's wild.
What do you know about Melania's relationship with Epstein? I was younger than Melania. Everything regarding that situation had already taken place by the time I came along, yet the whole thing felt strange and made no sense. It was as if their relationship had been pre-programmed, like a specific project that Paolo had meticulously architected solely to claim the power and credit for having orchestrated their meeting. Everything that is unfolding now was, in fact, part of the original plan. Paolo Zampolli had business dealings with Epstein. He was a recruiter of girls for Epstein. It was always a plan.
What do you mean by that?
Well, and not even just that. Even Trump said the whole reason why him and Epstein fell out when he did, finally end up, acknowledging the relationship and things of that nature. He said that he kicked him out of Mar-a-Lago and all that stuff because he was stealing girls. So it was always about women to begin with. And what I'm saying? If they're all in this weirdo thing where they're looking for recruiting girls and keeping a harem of girls and all this different bullshit, Trump, he couldn't even help himself by saying, the whole reason why they fell out was over girls, over him stealing girls. So I'm just saying, how is this still the guy? How is he still our fucking president when he's told on himself? He's told on himself. Melania didn't told, not necessarily verbatim told on herself, but at least told on the fact that she's complicit or that she's got dirt. She's got skin in the game. And this is still the leader of the free world.
Can you characterize Melania's relationship with Zampolli? Paolo Zampolli always portrayed himself as the one who initiated the relationship. It always seemed to me that Paolo held some hidden leverage over Melania's life, something that kept her in his thrall. It was a business arrangement, it seemed to me, an agreement from which both parties stood to benefit. Just look at how things have turned out today. Okay, well, if we look at how things turned out today, what I would say is that we have a man that has some connections to Epstein, which is something that Trump wants to go away as quickly as possible, but cannot as long as he maintains close relationship and contact and continues to elevate the people whose names are in them files. And the only reason why he wouldn't sever those ties is because of some kind of leverage, as she put. What can you tell us about?
All right, so dun dun dun. Yeah, y'all gotta go over to Reese Waters and catch the rest of this one. Like I said, if I would have reacted to the whole thing, this video would be over an hour because I think his video in itself is 40-something minutes. But yeah, y'all definitely either go to the website and read it for yourself or go and check out the full video on Reese. But it's not looking good. It's not looking good. We definitely got to keep an eye on this lady and see how this story progresses, because she's already said that she'd be willing to testify before Congress. She's already said enough to implicate a lot of people. So I hope that she's protected at all costs. I hope that I hope that there's actual hearings and justice done. We have somebody who's obviously out there talking right at this moment, and we also have the other survivors. So, hey, get to indicting, subpoenaing, and getting these motherfuckers locked up. That's where I'm at. But y'all let me know if y'all learned something. Definitely share it with your people. Keep the information flowing. Keep the conversation going. And until next time, I'll holla at you.
I don't think you wanna be my enemy. I pop out, they go wild, so celebrity. Too busy winning, I forgot that I got frenemies.